Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us and welcome to the Why I Need podcast. If you haven't subscribed yet, don't wait any longer. Go ahead and hit the subscribe button, like, share, and engage us in the comment section. So, we're going to be talking about the Supreme Court decision about the Trump immigration policy. The Supreme Court sided with Trump 6-3. The conservative court lifted restrictions that the lower court George placed on this policy, and they basically greenlighted sweeping immigration raids. So the Supreme Court is now saying that the raids allow federal agents to stop individuals based on broad criteria, such as their ethnicity, your language, the type of job that you have, location. Maybe you're, laborer or you work in construction and you look like an immigrant, they will definitely stop you. And a lot of people have been talking about how this could actually impact low income people. This will impact people working minimum wage jobs, people that are basically trying to survive. And it's important for people to know what's going on. So when they get out there, they're very careful. And I know there's some bad actors too that will try to call the immigration and try to report you with them not really understanding your situation. So be careful out there. And I don't know if anyone can fight what the Supreme Court has ruled over. Supreme Court is the finer. So are you going to take it? Which other court are you going to take it to? Are you going to take it to God, or what are you going to do? So Supreme Court is supreme for that reason. And we're going to have to live with this new policy for a very long time. I believe Justice Sotomayor one that this decision will target especially Latino community. And this is not just only going to affect Latino community, it's going to affect immigrants, whether you're legal or whether you're illegal. If you look like an immigrant, if you speak like an immigrant, if you dress like an immigrant, I'm not trying to, put fear in anyone's mind, but if you dress up like an immigrant, if you look like an immigrant, be rest assured there are people that are going to be watching you and try to make calls and try to get you deported or get you out of the country. So, what do you think about this new policy the Supreme Court just signed off on?
Yeah, I think this is just gonna be a slippery slope for some things. Some very interesting things to come. You could literally be having issue with your neighbor, and then they will call the immigration on you, and before you know, they will remove you from the country. So basically, I think this is not the best time to foment trouble, to make trouble with anyone, because according to the language, of the ruling or the languages in the ruling, you can basically be removed based on how you look, based on not just based on the color of your skin, even your English proficiency, they can be used to remove you. I think this is a very bad. They're setting a very bad precedence for things to come. The very interesting thing about Supreme Court judgment is that there is no other court to take it to. So unless you want to take it up to God, other than that, we're just going to live with this decision for a very long time, at least many years to come, until they decide to reverse themselves, or until they feel like, okay, maybe we should hear this case again. But it's definitely not going to be in 20 years time. It's probably not going to be in 30 years time. It'll probably be like, maybe we will not be around by the time they will try to reverse themselves. I think it would be an insult on them if I say they don't quite understand the kind of power they have. So I think some cases like this, I think they shouldn't be partisan with cases like this. They should look at it thoroughly and see how their decision could affect generations many years to come before they even rule on some of these cases. I just think a lot of them run on the partisan line because the judgment came out just the way the court is 6-3. Three Democrats, six Republicans. That's how many of these judgment will come out from that Supreme Court. It will probably be like that for at least another 3 years before we have 48. And the way it's looking like Republican will produce 48 again. So this is not the time to cause trouble. This is the time to be careful. And then mind where you go, and mind who you argue with before they will call immigration on you. In fact, I think sometime last week there was a raid on a Hyundai plant, and then they basically arrested almost 400 and something people there. So, yeah, this is not the time to to start trouble, and this is not the time to be keeping late night, especially if you know that you are not well grounded in this country. Just be careful and then play safe.
Yeah, definitely agree with you that this is going to take a very long time before this policy can be changed, depending on who wins, right? Because President Trump basically filled maybe two or three of those seats in his last term. So he's here now, and those people are still younger in years. And it's going to take him at least 30 years, maybe 20 to 30 years before any changes can be made, depending on the political climate at that point. It could fall into the Democrats' and it could fall into Republicans' hands. So it is very tricky. It is very tricky. And this is not just for the people that are not well grounded in this country. It's also for people that are grounded. If you're going out there, make sure you have the right paperwork. If you don't have a passport card, make sure you get a passport card and you can keep it uh, in your wallet. I'm sure when ICE stops you, they're not gonna say yes to your driver's license because anybody can get a driver's license depending on your state's law and everything like that. So you're gonna need your passport card and maybe your passport as well. If you have a U.S. passport, maybe it is time for you to start carrying it. And hopefully, when the ICE stops you, they'll be reasonable enough to check your paperwork and not just try to, include you because you look like an immigrant or you speak like an immigrant. So be very careful out there. Make sure you follow the law. Make sure you don't try to break any law because the fact that you're staying here legally, the fact that you have a permanent resident card, you're in a or your visa is still valid, doesn't mean they can deport you. They have a quarter to meet. And if they're not meeting up their quarter, they're not meeting their target, they're going to find every way possible to meet up with a quarter. So it's important that you continue to play safe out there. Everybody play safe. Yeah. But just be you. Stay away from trouble. Don't try to get in any kind of trouble. Don't try to, get into any fights because they're gonna find a way to meet up with your quarter. So if you're caught committing crime, you've given them a chance to send you back to wherever you're coming from. So it's important that the Democrats continue to do a good job so that they can win elections because elections have consequences. If you don't win elections, these are the things that are going to happen. Trump won in a landslide. If they fielded a better candidate or if Kamala had enough time to push out messages, maybe we won't be in this situation. But we're here now and hopefully we'll get out of it in the next 3 years. Now, 3 years is still a long time. So many things can still happen in the next 3 years. It's important that you're staying safe out there. It's important that you're staying out of trouble and don't get caught doing anything illegal.
Oh yeah, definitely. 3 years is a long time, and for Democrats, pay attention to their followers, to pay attention to their voters, to listen to them. They would rather play politics than literally do what they are sent to do. They just pay attention to things that really do not matter. That is why they fielded some weak, candidate. And just like you said, election has consequences. And the funny thing about this whole thing is that a lot of these decisions are coming from, the apex court. So it means that there's nowhere else to take it to. And they hardly reverse themselves. They hardly listen and say, we want to hear this case again. The only one I've seen so far is the Roe versus Wade, and that case was decided long time ago, and it's taken them close to almost 40 years or 30 years to reopen that case to say, okay, let us, hear this case again. And this judgment coming out from the apex court is going to live with us for a long time. A lot of us will be gone by the time they will, even think of, sitting down to look at it again. So, especially with this immigration policy that says you could be removed based on the color of your skin, based on how you speak, it's going to be with us. This is not a congressional policy. This is not a presidential policy. this is a ruling from the Supreme Court. It's going to be with us for a very, very long time. Like I said before, this is not the time to fight, to start fight without your neighbor. It's time to call your neighbor and say, man, let's settle this. Just have a drink over there because otherwise your neighbor could literally enter their house and call the immigration on you. And when they come, they will not ask questions. They have a quota to meet. They have to justify that $50,000 sign-on bonus. They really have to justify it. They really have to give top reason to make sure he released that money. So they have to meet that quota any way necessary. So they will remove you and there is no court that you take it to. And in fact, they will remove you and send you back to your country. You don't even have the money to fight the case from your country. So if you are not inside, you can't fight the case. So this is not the time to start trouble. Maybe make peace. Maybe cut back on your party, how you party. Maybe cut back on some of your friends that you think they could land you in trouble. Literally do anything that will make you survive this period. And then let us know what you think in the comment section. Let us know what you plan to do in this comment section. We'll be glad to read your comment and see what you think. Thank you for your support, and we'll see you in the comment section.